Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. We had Jeremy Piven in the studio around this time yesterday. Case is the video version of that interview dropping soon?
10 a.m. today, Q101 Chicago's YouTube channel. You'll see the full video interview with ourselves and Jeremy Piven yesterday. Great stuff there.
Make sure you check it out on our socials and Q101.com. And, of course, we'll have some more audio from that as well. But first, some major food news going on in Chicagoland. And let's start with one of the biggest lawsuits in the city's history. And it starts with the people that make Oreos. I must have been blind on this one. I was today years old when I found out that Oreos were made here in Chicago. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Kenzie, you know that?
No.
So Chicago-based snack food maker, they're called Mondelez International, and they make Oreos, Chips Ahoy, Wheat Thins, which are good to the salty part after you eat all that sweet stuff, and then the Oreos, of course, too. So
I didn't realize that was all the same company.
Yeah, they acquired them all. But there's some bad news here for Aldi. People that love Aldi, they're suing Aldi because the packaging for Aldi store-branded cookies and crackers, they, quote, blatantly copy Mondelez products like Oreos, Chips Ahoy, and Wheat Thins. And they have a picture when you go side by side. Man, look pretty similar. Didn't get too creative in the packaging of the knockoffs. But that's, I don't know. So you're in Aldi, let's say, and you see that blue bag of those Chips Ahoy, and you pick it up thinking it's actually Chips Ahoy. But it's the Aldi version, which I'm not saying is bad. It's just as delicious. Mm-hmm. But they're kind of taking the name away, taking the stuff. You know what I mean? People think it's Chips Ahoy.
Well, what's the name of it?
You know what? That one is in Spanish. So look that one up, Kenzie. I couldn't figure that one out.
Wait, the Aldi Chips Ahoy is in Spanish?
Yeah. But the Wheat Thins are called Thin Wheats.
Well, that's English.
I got that one.
That one we know.
That one I got. That one I figured out. But the side-by-side is pretty interesting. So they're making a massive lawsuit. They say basically the packaging likely to deceive and confuse customers and threaten irreparable harm, Mondelez says, on their brands because people are mistaking it. Maybe they don't like the Aldi brand and they go, I don't like Chips Ahoy anymore, but really it's not Chips Ahoy because the packaging is so close.
I'll paint a picture for the people listening. The Chips Ahoy, and I prefer the chewy one in the red bag, but we'll go with the original flavor.
God, those are not good.
Okay, well, we'll go with the original flavor in the blue bag. It's a blue bag with blue text that says Chips Ahoy on it with a red exclamation mark and a basic chocolate chip cookie next to it. The Aldi version, which is Benton's brand, I now see an English packaging. I don't know how you got Spanish packaging. I now see an English
not seeing
one.
this anywhere.
I only saw the Spanish version.
I've got an English packaging for you.
Okay.
But it's a blue bag with blue text that just says chocolate chip, and then in red, instead of the exclamation mark that would be next to the Chips Ahoy, it says cookies. And behind it is a chocolate chip cookie. If you were maybe a contact wearer who just didn't happen to have their contacts in, or you weren't wearing your glasses, you would go, I'm picking up a bag of Chips Ahoy. That's why this lawsuit is taking place.
Got it. Thanks for the deep dive on that. I don't know why I'm only getting the Spanish version.
Chocolate. I found the chocolate chip cookie bag too, but I thought it wasn't it because Brian said it was in Spanish. That can't be it.
I don't know why my algorithm wants Spanish. I don't know why.
But that's bullcrap. They don't own, Chips Ahoy doesn't own the word chocolate chip cookie.
Yet.
Bite it. And blue's a pretty popular color.
Well,
it's not like it's a chartreuse packaging. Relax.
But it's the same blue shade of Chips Ahoy.
I mean, Kenzie, they look similar. They're attempting to deceive, are they not?
I think they're attempting to give an affordable version.
John says, to be fair, they taste so similar at the fraction of a cost in Aldi. So he says the taste is exactly the same, so they copied the taste too, which is pretty awesome.
I don't know. I've done my rounds in the Aldi aisles. I've tried Fruit Rounds instead of Fruit Loops. I've tried Dr. Dazzle instead of Dr. Pepper. I've tried Red Thunder instead of Red Bull. They're not the same to me. Maybe that makes me a snob. Maybe that's a me problem. But I can't get on board with crispy oat cereal. I would like Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, your palate's just way too advanced.
That's what I've been saying.
You're a name brand guy.
I'm a name brand guy. Sue me. Don't sue me.
Actually.
Well, if you're a name brand guy, you have a lot of money, so you should sue you.
I don't have a lot of money. I should probably start going to Aldi.
You should
again.
probably go to Aldi. and 773 checked in with that point saying, if you're shopping at Aldi, you know it's off-brand. You know it's not going to be Chips Ahoy if you shop there regularly enough, or Oreos. It's going to be an off-brand.
Well, that's the thing with Aldi is everything you're buying is off-brand. So you're not walking into that store, like everything's off-brand.
Yeah, so they're probably going to make that argument in court when it goes there as like, we're Aldi. Duh. That might be what the lawyer says exactly.
Their package is never going to be sitting next to a pack of Oreos because they wouldn't carry that.
But that's changed a little bit because as a heavy soda drinker, Aldi used to carry Mountain Lightning, which was a Mountain Dew substitute. Now they've just got brand name Mountain Dew there.
How'd they get that?
Well, they discontinued Mountain Lightning, I believe, and then they're like, what if we just get Mountain Dew?
But is it cheaper there than other places at Aldi?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mountain. They didn't even try to hide that one. They took the word mountain in it and started with there. See, I'm torn on this one because I want people to spend less at the grocery store, and if you can get a knockoff, go for it. And people, listen, all these based here, too.
This has been around forever. Like, we used to always get Diet Right sodas.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't like a new thing.
Like, all these based here, too, in Batavia. This could be like an Illinois war between Mondelez and Aldi. But I don't want Oreos to one day say, because of all the knockoffs, we have to stop making Oreos. We can't afford it anymore.
You think that Aldi would win this lawsuit and that Oreo would take the hit?
Not necessarily the lawsuit, but maybe it does do what they say and threatens the harm based on the deception and confusion of the customers, and people don't buy as many Oreos, so they go away.
Wow.
That'd be a tragic day in the history of this country.
What a chain reaction that would be.
So I'm really torn in this lawsuit. I want people to have cheaper food because it's ridiculous right now. And if you get the knockoff at Aldi, it's great. But I also don't want the original name brands to go away. I'm torn.
They're not going to go away.
You don't think so?
No. Oreos is a very common. That's at most grocery stores. This is the one knockoff grocery store there is. Relax.
I'm concerned.
Brian, I want you to picture a world without Oreos. What does that look like? How does it change things?
Because I see abs in Brian's future.
It's a butterfly effect. It doesn't just end with Oreos.
So all of a sudden, my first thought was Portillo's chocolate cake is gone.
Oh, my God.
I don't know why.
Why would that be gone?
I have no idea. That was the leap that came into my head. If Oreos are gone, Portillo's cake is gone.
Well, the chocolate industry would take a hit.
Can you imagine if everything is bland?
Because there's only two flavors, chocolate and bland.
None of this is related. And like you guys are acting like, okay, wait a minute.
This is a big deal.
Oreos could go away.
It's really not.
Why aren't you excited?
It's really not.
Everybody's texting you, and Oreos aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because Oreos has the Halloween version, which I keep them afloat alone in October. Don't even worry about it.
People are texting in. You should have other things to worry about. Be concerned about that Oreos going away. Thank you, Dakota, for checking in on that.
That is such a Dakota text, by the way.
It starts with the Oreo, though. That's what people aren't realizing. I warn people about AI all the time. It's not AI I'm worried about. It's everything that comes after AI. Oreos are off the market. It changes everything.
We may have a wormhole to go into here because Chris texted in. I didn't know this, and I don't think it's true. He texted in from Woodridge. He says, "Isn't Oreo a knockoff?"
Of what?
I don't know, but I'm afraid to go down that wormhole.
Well, let me Google that.
Don't do it.
Why?
Isn't this what the Matrix is about?
Yeah, are we all living in the Matrix?
This is what the movie was about, right? Was how Oreos are a knockoff.
Thanks for checking in from Woodridge on that because you certainly took us somewhere.
Man.
Kenzie,
it said Nabisco, the company behind Oreo, blatantly ripped off, and then it goes, hold on.
We'll wait.
I didn't know it was going to be a read more situation.
No, this is important. We'll wait. We'll wait on this.
We were talking to Hydrox, Martin, remember, blah, 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 blah. They had, Hydrox was the original chocolate sandwich cookie.
Oh, no.
Ooh. So Nabisco has no rights. How dare you?
Well, it's Mondelez Industries now.
Well, yeah, because I'm saying, and then they bought it. This is this cookie's 3 times removed, like a cousin. Relax.
Oh, my God. I'm looking at the Hydrox cookie.
Yeah.
It's an Oreo.
Thing.
It's an Oreo.
What the hell? It's been a lie. I mean, I'm not stopping Oreos.
Well, I don't know where to
Hydrox
find...
looks like Swedish or something. Look at the font.
Yeah.
What is that? That's another country. Right?
The font is another country?
That's giving Switzerland or something, right?
Okay. Let's see here if it was Switzerland or not.
That font is, they yodel. You know what I mean?
While I make sure it's from another country, give us a yodel, Kenzie.
Yoo-hoo.
Wasn't bad.
Very good.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oreo was created, 1912 as an imitation of Hydrox, which started in 1908.
Could you imagine the audacity of suing someone for copying your cookie that you copied?
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Kenzie's Crime is about 10 minutes away. A new deep dive into a murder mystery. And we might even have one going on here right now and investigating Mondelez Industries, the Chicago-based company that basically owns these brands, Chips Ahoy, Oreos, Wheat Thins. And they're suing Aldi for very similar packaging on their knockoff brands. A lot of controversy with this because people go to Aldi knowing it's a knockoff brand. That's why it's cheaper. But the packaging looks exactly like the packaging of Mondelez Industries cookie brands and cracker brands. And I just want everybody to get along. I don't want anything going away. The Aldi knockoffs, I don't want the originals going away. I say we just cease this lawsuit now, Mondelez Industries, please. Whoever, if anybody works there, hit us up. Or anybody works at Aldi and knows more about it can hit us up as well. A lot of text coming through. Case, what do you got on the text line?
So we were talking about how Oreo is actually a ripoff of Hydrox, but I had never heard of Hydrox before. Martin checked in on the text line and said, imagine how good that cookie must be if it's better than Oreo, in the same way that Oreo cookies are better than Aldi cookies. So, Kenzie, where the hell can we get Hydrox cookies?
Okay, so I looked up because I was like, maybe they're out of business. I don't know, but they're not. So they said one of the most reliable options is Amazon. You can order in bulk on Amazon. They're at some grocery stores, but this is where they partnered with. They just partnered with Menards. You know how Menards has that huge snack and grocery section?
Which is so confusing, by the way. When you go to Menards to get a hammer, and then you see all this food, and you're like, I got to buy all that stuff now, too.
Yeah, you got to get all the food, too.
Look, I'm not a Menards guy. I don't need a lot of tools in my life. I had no idea they had snacks there.
No, they have
They have a huge grocery section. It's insane.
It's so good.
And they're kind of known. This is so Menards coded because they're always like they always have a deep cut snack. Okay, that's like their jam. Things that you can't find anywhere else. So the fact that they signed a deal with Hydrox makes total sense. But then I looked up where this company's from because I'm surprised they signed with Menards, and it's also a Chicago company. So the Hydrox Corporation launched in Chicago in 1888, and originally they had ice cream and soft drinks.
Well, why is Chicago known for pizza and hot dogs and beefs and not Oreos? Because we invented Oreos, it sounds like, going back 150 years. We need to add this to the Mount Rushmore.
Should we talk to Brandon Johnson about this? I feel like we're not doing cookies right.
If he wants to save his mayorship,
this city,
he could do that, and probably people might vote him in for another year. I don't think so, but it might happen. I don't know. At least we get Oreos on the Mount Rushmore.
Thank God.
Also, a 630 checked in. This was Mark checking in. He said, are you guys out of your minds? Everything's a knockoff brand. I swore I would never get taken again when I got duped into buying a Panasonic transistor radio when I was a kid. Was not Panasonic, clearly.
You let go of that. You can move on.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Some Young Blood tickets coming up at the end of music and entertainment news. Well, listen, this story's pretty rough, and we have to pour one out for the King of the Hill actor Jonathan Joss, who was shot and killed by his neighbor. Now, big fans of King of the Hill like us here on the show, and we get your comedic sense. And we've played so much audio from King of the Hill over the years on the show and so many different characters. And in a way, John Redcorn, who he played, was more of a visual character. Obviously, he had a lot of great dialogue, but the visual stuff in that show of him sleeping with Dale's wife or massaging her, and then Dale never understanding what was going on in the show. He thought John Redcorn was his best friend. In the meantime, he was sleeping with his wife.
It sounds evil when you put it like that, but we promise it was really funny.
And he would always pull up, and he'd be playing like Foreigner, hot-blooded in his Jeep. This really hit me yesterday. A very sad story, and we have to get to these details that are not good, not at all in any way, because it just wasn't, some kind of passing. It turns out it probably was a hate crime in the description from his husband.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was gay, and Pride Month here, I think it's important to talk about some of these things of what's going on out there, and this just happened to be someone that we all know. A lot of times it's people that we don't know. But the story goes like this from his husband, Tristan. So Josh said this past January, his childhood home burned down. Jonathan's childhood home burned down. And then one of his dogs died in the fire. For years before that, they had apparently dealt with homophobic neighbors who had threatened to burn down the house. Now, that wasn't proven by law enforcement what happened, but this is what their perception of what happened is.
Okay.
On Sunday, Jonathan and Tristan went to the site to check their mail and found the skull of one of their dogs and its harness placed in clear view. Again, it's not proven that the home was burned down intentionally, but it's starting to look shady.
Okay.
When they saw that, they were distraught and started yelling and crying. When that happened, a man approached them and started yelling gay slurs at them, which apparently was this neighbor they had fights with. He raised a gun, pointed at him, and opened fire.
What?
Yeah, this is how it went down. Again, I'm sorry these details are rough, but I think it's important we talk about it. And Tristan says Jonathan pushed him out of the way and saved his life.
Oh, my gosh.
And Jonathan was struck several times and died on the scene. Really terrible, terrible story.
How sick do you have to be to think you're honestly a better person than somebody? And that even if you disagree with it, even if you're like, oh, like, I don't think you should do that, that you have the right to hurt someone or take their life or do anything. How does that make you an okay person? Like, what is wrong with people?
Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible. Again, it's Pride Month. We should be really thinking about this stuff. And the suspect right away was booked on a murder charge. So he was caught, and he's on jail, thankfully, and booked on murder, and probably will be first-degree murder. And maybe they'll find out more about what his husband, Tristan, thought about what happened, that his childhood almost burned down, maybe by this guy. That's all alleged right now.
Yeah, but now that this has come out, like, set in stone, they can probably really look in and dig into the other things.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a long, drawn-out case. But again, this hits just us as King of the Hill fans, and John Redcorn, the character that he voiced, was so funny on the show. And we have some audio, and just a reminder, John Redcorn was sleeping with Dale's wife, and Dale never figured it out. He thought he was his best friend on the show.
Well, and then their son was Native American,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that was like the fun, because they're both white, and he never...
I mean, obviously, King of the Hill is Dale's redneck as he could be.
I guess we did gloss over that, Kenzie. In case anybody couldn't figure it out, they do have a Native American.
Yeah.
Their son is Native American, and he never...
So
he's the spitting image of him.
There's so many great montage scenes of John Redcorn going to massage his wife, and then Dale going like, all right, have a good time over there. I'll see you Saturday night. And this is one of my favorites when, after the neighbor gets jealous of Dale's new state-of-the-art lawnmower, he sets up a BB gun security system to ensure that no one steals it. And the security system is triggered by John Redcorn, who isn't looking to steal the mower, but is looking at as a lift to sneak into Dale's wife's bedroom to sleep with her. And this is that audio.
How do I know it's Jack Ruby's hat?
He's on the phone.
Well, if I'm gonna spend money on it, I gotta know it's Jack Ruby's hat. All right. What colors does it come in? Next time it might not be a BB. I know what you're here for.
Dale, this isn't how I wanted you to find out.
Quit screwing around with my mower.
You've got to be kidding.
I don't kid about my mower. Now get inside and start massaging my wife.
He's taking some of the fun out of this.
He's ready to explain that he's cheating on his wife, and he's like, I can't believe this guy can't figure out that I'm sleeping with his wife. Oh, God, it was so good. And then, also in the show, Bill falls in love after he has a blind date with Charlene, the hot single mother. However, Dale's intuition tells him something's not quite right with Charlene's daughter, Kate. And after secretly performing a DNA test, he discovers that Kate is related to his son, Joseph, which of course means they're both John Redcorn's children. And this is when they team up on that. Another great piece of audio from King of the Hill.
John Redcorn? Is that you?
Dale, you must be wondering why I'm hiding behind this bush.
No, I just figured there was a cool Indian reason. Is there a cool Indian reason?
Yes, but I also wanted to see Joseph's sister and her mother.
That's Charlene.
Candy?
Sorry, I don't have any. The mothers of my children are pretty hot. The aliens seem partial to pouty lips and an ample bosom.
Yes, they do.
Well, I'm leaving. Couldn't even turn a woman off Bill. How's that for sad? I wish I had a debonair ladies' man to seduce her. Too bad Boomhauer finds motherhood disgusting. Well, see you later, John. Redcorn! Of course!
I'm sorry?
John Redcorn, I bet you could romance a woman out of a relationship with a giant doofus.
Dale, Are you asking me to steal your friend's companion?
I don't want my child raised by an idiot.
Yes, it's very difficult to watch an idiot raise your child.
Then join me, and together we can strike down this perverse and unholy union. There's some sex in it for ya.
Of course, not realizing that John Redcorn is doing exactly that, a doofus raising his child and having to watch it when Dale raises him. Man, this is really sad. Pouring one out, obviously, for Jonathan Joss, who played John Redcorn on King of the Hill, and on Parks and Recreation. We don't have time to get more audio of that, but Case loved that show. I wanted to play some Parks and Rec audio of him as well. And this all comes in a weird veil of King of the Hill returning after 15 years.
It's coming back?
It's coming back. The 14th season is a revival, not a reboot, and it will premiere on Hulu August 4th. 15 years gone. The revival will be a 10-episode season that will continue the story from the original show, which ended in 2010. The show will reflect the passage of time, so Bobby Hill is now in his 20s and living in Dallas, and the Hill family returns to Arlen, Texas from working in Saudi Arabia. Where Hank Hill got a big oil deal. Is that what they at the end?
Can we rent out a movie theater to binge the new King of the Hill season?
Could be an idea.
Feels like the only appropriate thing to do.
As long as they drop it all at once, we watch all 10 at the same time.
Deal.
We do that. So again, pouring one out for Jonathan Joss. Very sad story. And John Redcorn. Let's get to something a little more positive here. But the memory of it is very positive. That brings back all that joy. But we have a show for Youngblood at the Riv. 312-591-8300. Caller 10 gets those tickets for Youngblood. Furnished by our great friends Jam Productions. They're on sale now, but you got them free from Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Allison checked in from Waukegan, needed Wheatus. Allison, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope all of Waukegan enjoyed it. We have some breaking news coming up in sports. Huge Chicago sports news. But then Case runs in with a paper. It was fluttering. So I got other breaking news not related to sports. We can get out before sports, so let's do that.
I ran inside. I said, extra, read all about it.
Everybody out there in Chicago, yeah, extra. Here's the second edition of the... Because it's later in the show. You see, it'll be the second edition of the newspaper.
Edition.
What's the news?
July 10th. 2025, just a little over a month away. We were promised something at the start of the year, and we are finally going to get those results. The McDonald's snack wrap is going to return to stores July 10th, 2025.
Or snack wrap. You said snack wrap, a little slow.
Oh.
It was very defined.
Sorry, Walter Cronkite. Jesus.
You could say snack wrap. It has a ring to it, a snap to it when you say snack
I'm
wrap.
sorry, if you couldn't figure out what Case was saying, you don't deserve one.
It's not that I couldn't figure it out. It just sounded very too robotic, almost AI, if you will. But snack wrap. The snack wrap's coming back July 10th.
The July 10th in stores in McDonald's. This is, of course, very interesting. Something that got bumped from today's show we're going to talk about tomorrow. Popeyes unveiling a chicken snack wrap tomorrow in their location. They're beating McDonald's to market, but the pressure's on. A few years ago, we had the chicken sandwich wars. It looks like the chicken wrap war is going to take over this country in 2025.
Well, this is getting interesting. This is very interesting. And McDonald's gave us those snack wraps early on.
The Tendies. We got the Tendies
The
back.
Tendies, before anybody else on earth got them. So
man.
I will get on the front lines of this chicken war if I have to.
This is a game changer. This is going to change things around here.
Well,
What do you mean the front lines of the war? This is coming back.
I know the chicken. Well,
Just the front line of buying it? What do you mean?
He's on the front of the line.
I will man a post with a chicken wrap in my hand, a McDonald's snack wrap in my hand,
A grenade launcher with a chicken wrap that comes out of it.
and I will fight for this country's joy of snack wraps and chicken from McDonald's. And then Popeyes, I'll be interested to see what they got. So, it's all out there.
Ian checked into the text line. I turned 30 that day. This is the best possible news I could have received.
Well, happy birthday.
God, that's amazing.
Chicken and birthdays.
God bless America.
Let's get to sports where there's more breaking news.
The Q101 Morning Crew. Sports.
Well, Chicago, you've got another stadium, and it's not the Bears moving to Arlington Heights, allegedly. A lot of diggers out there doing stuff, so I think it's done. We broke that story, but we can't say it officially because, of course, the Bears haven't said it themselves. Now, the new stadium is not a White Sox stadium, which was trying to get in that new neighborhood, the 78 on the South Loop. It is a new Chicago Fire Football Club stadium, privately funded soccer stadium on the south side. They play at Soldier Field. Soon there will be nobody playing at Soldier Field. And then they could have had it to themselves, but no. A privately funded stadium, $650 million, 22,000-seat soccer stadium at the 78, which would make it much more intimate and a soccer environment than Soldier Field is. No disrespect, but 61,000 people to 22,000, it'll feel like a party in there in this new stadium with natural grass field and cover approximately 9 acres of the site where they're hoping, with a beautiful rendering here, that a lot pops up around it with new homes. They say affordable housing. I'd like to see what they think affordable is. Outdoor gathering spaces, a half-mile river walk because it's on that branch of the Chicago River. You got Clark Street, Roosevelt, and then you've got the river kind of around that area. So pretty exciting news this morning. Again, privately funded, so we can't get mad about taxpayer money going to another stadium. And that's not happening in this state, as they made very clear. The Bears aren't getting it. White Sox aren't getting it. So privately funded. I just want to know who had $250 million laying around. So take this. Because if you have I shouldn't even say that. You have to have a couple billion because you can't give $650 million away.
Right, you wouldn't give all of your money away.
Yeah.
You have to have that's like a surplus buy. Like, you know what I'll do today? I'll buy that. So, yeah, you basically have to be a billionaire to want to just pour all your money into that.
Yeah, you got to be good. You got to be good. Like, I'm still living in a mansion in Barrington, let's say.
Well, how many billionaires do you think live in Chicago?
There are a lot. I know.
Really? I thought there wasn't that many billionaires on Earth, though.
Nah, there's too many. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
Wasn't enough for me to meet one.
There are far too many billionaires.
That's a you problem.
What's a you problem? You're not one.
No, you and you. All y'all. It's a me problem, too.
There's about 25 billionaires who live in Chicago.
That's a pretty big number.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where do they eat? Let me go where they eat.
Okay, you find out and you go there.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Tomorrow, it's Wednesday, so at 8:20, remember, head to headlines. The funniest headlines of the week. We narrow them down to 2. You decide the content of the show. We give you the headlines. You decide which one, by texting him, which one you want to hear us break down. And it is a lot right now so far of headlines coming in that are ridiculous. So that's at 8:20 tomorrow, right here with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Let's get to the takeaways. Case, what do you got?
Takeaway from Tony: how many billionaires in Chicago? Too many. It's a whole thing.
Also, Kenzie wants to know where they eat.
Where do they eat?
Where
Where are they hanging out?
Top of your head, like first thing that comes in your head, where do you think they eat?
Soho House.
Soho House, damn right. That place is packed all day long, and it looks kind of like above our pay grade, all of our pay grades.
I would say, well, actually, we would totally get accepted to Soho House because they like interesting jobs. But that and the athletic club, have you seen that place?
I don't think I know that place.
It just looks like it has a Ralph Lauren aesthetic.
I thought you were going to say, I thought you were saying East Bank Club at first. That's what came to my mind, but that's a different place.
I'm so poor, I don't know what either of those places are.
I know, okay.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize for being an adult poor. You can't help what happened to you.
I'm just not trustworthy.
Nope.
Kenzie, you got for a takeaway?
Matt's takeaway, whenever someone says to Brian, let me be frank with you, he replies, I wish.
Very good. And finally, Maddie630 checked in. Takeaway. There are only 2 flavors, chocolate and bland.
That's right.
Yep, that's it. Case, what do you got on our podcast today?
What a day on the podcast. Brian was born a Brian, but destined to be a Frank. You can listen to him talk about how he hates his name and how he wishes that his name was Frank. It is Tuesday, so we have a brand new Kenzie's Crimes. Very sad, but very interesting story there. And the great cookie wars are upon us. We broke down a lawsuit that could change the cookie aisle forever. You might think this is a laughing matter. We certainly do not. And we got into that story in excruciating detail. That'll be up here on the podcast in just a second.
You miss a moment, miss a lot, anytime, anywhere. On the smart speaker, on the app, you can listen to Brian and Kenzie after we're gone.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.